Shushan Purim. Sorry for the delay. Still Purim, right? So things are not on an exact timetable. Once I made this decision rather spontaneously to make a Suda, and I'll explain how I came to that decision in a moment. Not that it really should be done every year, as you know, per the sources my good friend Yoni Kutner sent me. But I came to this decision. Once I came to this decision, so we have to do it like Purim. We have to daven mincha first. Preferably daven mincha before the Suda, and also I didn't want you to be waiting for me as I wash, and I didn't want you. Not that I don't want you to hear my brachas, but I'm willing to wager, as I know from many of my live streams, a lot of people catch the live streams. Excuse me. Chaim. Here's a Tish after all, right? We are mitten Suda. So I know a lot of people catch me on live streams, or rather don't catch me when I'm live streaming. They catch the recording, which is archived. If I would make a bracha, if I would make a hamotah, make a gafen, that person would be answering amen to a non-real world, be an amen yesema, right? It's answering amen not connected to any real bracha, because an electronic reproduction of my voice is not a human being, right? So it's didn't want to be makshel people in amen yesema, answering an amen it's not really connected to a bracha. I didn't. Of course, that when you hear it in live stream in real time, you are allowed to answer amen, because even let me buy like those post game that will tell you that B'diavad, since live stream is instantaneous, it's like a loudspeaker. According to those post game, that would matter to be yotze something over a loudspeaker or over the telephone. You don't even have to come on to that, even like the ones that hold that it's not a real voice, even if it's happening, in real time, it's because it's electronically reproduced. It's not the only real voice is sound waves, natural sound waves, right? So even according to those poskim, you could still answer amen if on to a live stream. You're catching real time because it's like a flag. It's the din of like the Beis HaKnesset in Alexandria, that they raised flags, and they knew when to answer amen because it was just so big they couldn't hear. So a live stream, since it's in real time, I made a bracha. You know what bracha I made, right? So the electronic image and the electronic sound recreation of my voice is no worse than a flag that right now I made a bracha. You can answer amen. If you see a person, from a distance making a bracha, right, you just know what he's doing. You can tell he's about to, he's making a shako. You can answer amen. Again, it's no different than the flag. And and in real life, and when it's in real time, I mean to say, right? So it's not worse than the flag. So, but a lot of people. So I've got no problem if you actually are catching this in live stream, which according to my no one's on right now yet, unless you guys roll here and left, But you'll come back. So you're probably not catching this in real time as I'm saying it. So if I would make the brachas, you would answer amen falsely, because that which you can make a bracha just because I should may answer amen rather to a bracha which was signaled by a fast, because that happened in real time. Now you're answering to a bracha made by a human being in real time, albeit it is not in real time. Okay, I think I over-explained this point already. So therefore, just another explanation as to why I wanted to, daven mincha and also start my Suda, make all the brachas ahead of time, so as not to be machshel and one catching it not in real time and answering amen. You have to forgive me. My first Suda today. Cham. So I want to, before we get into the BIG INYAN of Shushan Purim, there's an amazing thing that there's two Purims. There's two Purims, right? So we don't have by any other Chag, right? To understand this Inyan. So let me first get into what prompted me to do this. There are some years that I do, many years I just don't have the koch. If you do Purim right, then it's very hard to do Shushan Purim. So you just be yotzei just by not saying Tachnun, but really that's not right. It's a Chag. It is a Chag, and we just have to understand what its significance is. Because even if we don't have the halachas of Mikra Megillah and Matanos Levion and Mishloach Manos, right, and Kriyas Megillah, do we miss anything? There's 4 mitzvahs, Mikra Megillah, Matanos Levion, Mishloach, and Suda, right? So if we don't have those mitzvahs per se, but it's still a Chag, right? And we'll discuss this in a second. But what prompted me, to do this today, right, is that the two conversations with two friends. One good friend of mine, Dr. Joseph Galipter, called me to talk and learning with me, about something. We're talking and learning, and he mentioned the news. I had not heard the news that what went on in the UN today, and this Mamash Nogeh Eretz Yisrael, which is Shushan Purim, was instituted for the covet of Eretz Yisrael in general, the covenant of Yerushalayim, our capital city in particular, right? That Eretz Yisrael should view itself as Choshev as Shushan, so it's called Shushan Purim. Shushan was the capital of the world, capital of the world empire of the time. So to give covet to Yerushalayim, Eretz Yisrael Bechlal, and Yerushalayim Befrat, they instituted Shushan Purim, and we'll explain why. We'll explain the end of why they made it totally in a chayma. We'll discuss everything, right? So on this day, which is the Purim of covet of Eretz Yisrael had a setback today. Shem Yirachim. What happened in the UN, and it's very frightening because our government, Dina Malchus Dina, the American government did not veto it like it's supposed to. It's supposed to stand by Israel Chazak. Right, and they didn't veto. They didn't veto this resolution calling for immediate ceasefire, which implies, the Jewish people are in the wrong. And of course, the ceasefire just is a victory to Hamas, plain and simple. And it wasn't even totally be'etzem on giving back the hostages. Hashem Yirachim, and America didn't veto it. They gave it like tacit approval. It's a very, it's so. So, of course, we have to also enhance the Purim of Eretz Yisrael. And I kind of think of it, interesting thing. This is their Purim. The Purim, even though it's not Nogeh, the whole Eretz Yisrael, but it was Mishum Kvod of Eretz Yisrael, Mishum Kvod of Yerushalayim, which is the capital of Eretz Yisrael. So, like by us now celebrating, Shushan Purim, right, to the extent that the poskim say that we should just have simcha, generic simcha, which involves a suda, if it's not all the halachas of suda of Purim mamish, but to make a suda and to have simcha. So now, hear this chap that I had, and I forgot to mention the other thing that, Yoni, my good friend, Yoni Kutner, sent me a lot of sources for end up keeping Shushan Purim, so I expect that's but first of all, the Ikar Koach of a month, I'll speak out 2 things. I can't remember. It's mainly from Admirim, right? But it all makes good sense. The Ikar Koach of the month is the 15th. That's when the moon is its fullest. So that's why the first day of Sukkot is the 15th. The first day of Pesach is the 15th. So this is the 15th of Adar. And the month, it's Sierra Bishlamusa. So the Ikar Koach of the month is today. Hey, that's one, this, but what stands out, what I remember more clearly from the Minchas Elazar is it's Merumas in the first Milchama of Amalek, which also alludes to Purim, Ksov, Zos, Zikaron, Basefer. They found a remez, that to write Megillas Esther. All right, so by the very first Muhammad says Kiyad al Kes Ka. So Yad is your Dawad Adar, and Ka is the 15th of Adar. Kes Ka, right? Yad al Kes Ka. So the your Dawad is the Yad and the Ka. The shame cause, this then and there's comma, it was a very nice from the book The Wellsprings of Torah. He sent me a lot of sources. Some of them, some of the general Yonim I knew, but I was very moved. And I said, like, oh man, this is the Purim of Eretz Yisrael. It's a big Inyan anyway for us in Chutzah to keep Shushan Purim. Ubifrat now, think of this chap, right? It's not Shushan Purim in Eretz Yisrael anymore. Even like Rabbeinu Tam, it's been over for quite a few hours already. It's still Shushan Purim for us. So now by us keeping Shushan Purim, we're extending the koach of Shushan Purim, which is the Purim of Eretz Yisrael, and Eretz Yisrael needs a Purim. Because right now there was this gzera from the UN, not good. And the fact that America also, that means there's kitrugim. And this is supposed to be the day when we're mevatel all the kitrugim. Purim, and this is, and I had a bad feeling about this, because I said, the two happiest days in the year for us currently in the current Golos calendar. We're still in Golos, we should change. We should have the Gula B'meir B'yameinu. The two happiest days on our calendar for us, as opposed to what it says in the Gemara, the two happiest days supposed to be Yom Kippur and Tu B'Av. All right, we're not zocha to that, and it's mashra from what the Gemara says. How they celebrated. It was a big shidduch day. Both days were shidduch days. Amazing, the maidens in the vineyard. Okay, it sounds like that's bisman bayis sheni, and it's so we of course we feel simcha at the end of Yom Kippur, because Hakadosh was machava, but it wasn't like that, like what's described in the Mishnah and Tainus and in Tu B'Av. Also we mark it, but with no tachanun, but it seems that those days where it was like Lo Yom Tovim Li Yisrael sounds like it was bisman habayis. That's what it sounds like, simply what the women in the vineyards. I think it was all before Churban Habayis is what it sounds like, right? So as I said in Golos, we don't celebrate Yom Kippur and Tu B'Av like we did Bisman Beis Hamikdash Hayakayim, right? So what are our two happiest days of the year on our Golos schedule, right? Simchas Torah and Purim. And they're very similar. One is Simchas HaTorah, and the other one is Hadar Kiblu B'Me'achashosh, the acceptance of Torah. And both of them are beside a Tashlumin, because Shavuos lost its prominence because of Chet HaEgel. We still celebrate Shavuos because there wasn't a total reversal of Matan Torah. The Rebbe didn't repossess Torah. Right? It says Moshe Rabbeinu struggled with Hashem to give us the luchos, and then he broke them. But he struggled with Hashem to give us the luchos, so it shouldn't be that Torah was repossessed. So it's still a Matan Torah, but it's not the same, because the original luchos that reflected that original madrega, got corrupted because of Chet HaEgel, got distorted. So Shavuos has yet to climb to its original glory. So these two chagim supplement whatever was missing from Shavuos. Whether Purim supplements for the Koflim Har Kagigas, which sounds like it would even before Chet HaEgel, there was this element of the Torah was given by duress. So it's a chisaron it's chisaron in the simcha, right? Because we're for whatever shot why Rebbe did it, whether you say like Tesis, whether you say like the Maral, all right, but it's still a chisaron in the simcha of the Torah. So the Purim is connected Koflim Har Kagigas. And Simchas HaTorah, we explain in our book on Tishrei, Simchas HaTorah is mamish a tikkun for Chet HaEgel. After we go through Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, we got Luchashib, we go through it. We go through Sukkot, Tzil D'Memnusa, and then by Simchas HaTorah, we're at the madrega of what the closest thing to what Shavuos should have been. So these two chagim of Purim and Simchas Torah, the two happiest days of the year, they most represent attaining, right, the simcha of what Shavuos should be. It's still a day where chayiv and simcha, Shavuos, and Rav Yosef was very makbid. Okay, so these are the two happiest days. But now, the reason why also two of the happiest days is there's something else. All the kitrugim are bottled. Haman was Makatre, Yashno Amachad Mefuzu Yashno Yashnu Min HaMitzvahs, Amalek and he's Rashis Goyim. So all the other Goyim and their ministering angels Shemaim were Makatre, and Ribono Shel Olam overturned all the Kitrugim. That's Purim. And Simchas Torah also, that's the day where we celebrate the Goyim have gone home. We've gone through Hoshana Rabbah, the great salvation, and all the Kitrugim of the Goyim that we had to work against, during Sukkot with the Shivim Purim. It's finished. It's over. It's behind us. We have Shmini, it's just us and God. Mamish Besod Olam Haba, Elef Hashmini. Right? Just us and God. All right, so these are 2 days where the Kitrugim of the Goyim are behind us. And I said, and I really worried about this. As and Baruch Hashem, it's not as bad as October 7th. We'll call October 7th Mitzad the Puranis. We'll call it October 7th. We don't want, Mitzad the Puranis. But I think that October 7th and Kol HaMishtameh, how it will be known L'Shimtza throughout history. There's 9/11 for the Americans, and there's October 7th for us. Right? It will always be known as October 7th, which it should be known. We shouldn't make it a kavua day on the Hebrew calendar. Right? It shouldn't be a Bechia L'Doros. Hashem should help. That should not be a Bechia L'Doros, It should not be something instituted. But it was our worst day since the Holocaust. It was on the day that we were supposed to be totally past the Kitrugim of the Goyim. Right? So Baruch Hashem, it wasn't so bad, so bad. It's still, the war's still going on. The Hashis are still there, but it wasn't like a renewed attack. But you see, there's still Kitrugim. If the Goyim on earth are prosecuting and legislating, that means their Sorim and Shemaim are also. And I said, we got to do Shushan Purim. We got to be Mamshech the Or of Shushan Purim. Even here in Chutzarts, we got to be. So when it's Shushan Purim's over in Eretz Yisrael, it's the Purim of Eretz Yisrael, we should keep it here and keep it going. Keep the Iris and be koilet the Iris, right? To restore the covet and the security of Eretz Yisrael, right? Choma, Mukav Choma, security, right? Kipshutai. We'll get into what it means al pisoid, in just a minute. Since no one is catching this live, I'm not going to end the stream right now, but I am really hungry, and this is a Tish. I'm going to eat a little bit, so I'm taking a 2-minute break. Just bear with me. Just want to put some food in my mouth before it gets cold. And you also, if anyone's catching this live, right? Do a Shushan Purim Suda and tap in. Right? L'chaim. Have a little bit of veal for Tikkun Chet Egel. And some red corned beef, Keneged Pora Aduma, Keneged, which is also a tikkun of Chet Ego. Tavo ima v'tikanech tzoas benach. L'chaim. Okay, let's get back to Ikar Simcha of Torah. But by the way, since we're looking for Sechuyot, so yeah, of course, the dinim of the Maisim of Purim don't apply to us in Chutzarts right now. Right, we just have the Simcha of Shushan Purim, but Simcha is also a tap into the Uris. But Staka is always good. So, as we said, we're doing this, we mamshech the Uris of Shushan Purim to bring a Yeshua for Eretz Yisrael. Connected the Kitrugim also. So, give Staka, Tshuva Tefillah. So, we're doing Divrei Torah. We are here by Mispalo, that we should be Mavir, the Ras, Machshavtam Hara'ah of the UN, Asher Chashvu ala Yehudim, the should be Mavir, Machshavtam Hara'ah. That resolution, Mamish, like Machshavtam Shel Haman, Machsheves, the resolution, the Svarim, Machsheves, the modern day Haman, the modern day Amalek, which is the UN, and Rosh Hashanah Mavir it. So we're going to have Torah. We're going to have, of course, everyone in their heart. By Simchas Purim is the Simcha of Tshuva Me'ava. So you have to give tzedakah. So I'm going to ask you to please make a donation. This is tax deductible. So Zelle to 917-612-4778. 917-612-4778. Zelle to there. Or if you want to do a credit card, so go to my website, evanshasiya.com/donate, evanshasiya.com/donate. It's on the screen. See the link address on the screen, right? It's on the screen. So that's the Zelle, 917-612-4778. Okay. And this is, the link. Just give me a second, please, and we're going to go into the full depth of the mimer.
In light of what happened today at Shushan Purim, where Haman vetoed the security plan.
Just, okay. Nothing important. I just wanted to check that, I have kids in Eretz Yisrael, and I heard the phone ringing. I just want to make sure everything's okay. Baruch Hashem. What that phone call is not from Eretz Yisrael. It's actually from a Republican, super PAC, but not money. I have no money to give them. It's some part of like a think tank. We really all you didn't have to vote MAGA Republican or straight down the ticket. Yeah, but if someone asked, but I was curious. Someone just, mamish, it's all Baruch HaKodesh. Look at this. Ruach HaKodesh, both in Klali, that we start talking about what happened today, and I'm doing a Tish, and just someone sent me a WhatsApp. I just checked the WhatsApp, Agav, checking who called, asked me exactly in light of what happened today, how does it stem with Shushan Purim, and here he posed the question by WhatsApp just as we addressed it on the stream. Okay. So now, let's get into it now. Let's get into the whole, the Omek HaVort, right? Which we have to, there are two things we have to discuss. You have to break it down. There's two elements to Shushan Purim, Mochar and Mukaf Choma. Yinosen Gam Mochar, Ayudim Asher B'Shushan Lasos Kedas Hayom, give tomorrow also. It doesn't say another day. It says tomorrow, Mochar. Okay. So now that's it's Mochar La Yehudim, right? So there's the element of Mochar and there's the element of Mukaf Choma. Those are the two ingredients of Shushan Purim, Mochar and Mukaf Choma, right? So now let's start with the Mochar part, right? Because it's actually common, believe it or not, to both Purims, even Purim the Prosim, and I'll show you how. Okay, but an amazing thing, and we had to share this from Reb Moshe, my Rebbe, Reb Moshe Shapiro. He pointed out that from the very, very first Milchemes Amalek, there's an element of Mochar. Mochar, Anochi Nitzav Al Rosh Hagival Mata Elokim Biadi. Tomorrow. It's going to be tomorrow. I'm standing. So, you now, B'chalanu Anashim, choose the right people. Some say, by the way, he chose Adar Sheni babies, all Adar Sheni babies to be the soldiers, because Adar Sheni is above Mazel. We have 12 Mazalot. So what's the 13th month? It's connected to Shorish Mazel. So Amalek could not do any countermeasure to a person's Mazel. Right? So B'chalanu Anashim, all the Hachana, and then Mochar, Anochi, the Mochar will be tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, right? Right. So now flash forward, to the days of Mordechai and Esther. Umochar e'eseh kidvar hamelech. Esther didn't want to take him out by the first Suda. Esther, makes her move, and turns the tables on Haman by the second. Mochar es kidvar hamelech. Mochar. Right? Waited till, so day one is prep. Day two is the execution. Prep, execution. First Suda, and a lot happened. Think about it. A lot happened. It was all hachana. Ala eitz asher heichin lo. Haman was making hachana, to hang Mordechai, and then in the end, Haman was making the tree that he himself was hung on. Okay? And we spoke about that, on the first night. We spoke about this a few times this year. Okay. So day one, hachana. Day two, the next day is the execution. Right, and and even the hachana of everything that was nishapech on the next day. The hachana was on day one, and tomorrow. Okay, fast forward a few months. This happened in Nisan, right? It's Vayav and Mordechai. They had a Horasha, not to keep Pesach. It was a 3-day fast. Vayav and Mordechai. It was over on the the mitzvahs of Chag Pesach, Achilas Matzah. Right, so so you find 12 months later in Adar, the Milchama was on Yud Gimel, right? So you would think that should be the day they should institute as Purim. That was they killed 75,000 people. We said it's just a riot. Second Amendment rights. They didn't outsource to Achashverosh to defend them. You don't outsource your defense to the government. 75,000 people, man, they're using AR-15s, bump stocks, what they call it. Yeah, it killed a lot of people in one day. It's unbelievable. Baruch Hashem, Ken Yodo Vech Hashem. Right? So that's the big day. That's, Asher Sivra Shlobe V'Nafoch Asher Yishlatu HaYehudim Hema B'Soneim. Right? That was the big V'Nafoch, right? Right? Because we were supposed to become that. We killed them instead. But that's not the day we make Purim. V'Noyach Bar Ba'asar. Think about it for a second. The V'Nafochu was the day before, right? Right now, Asher Yishtu Ayudim Hema B'Soneim, right? And V'Ishlo Amad B'Fneim, Big Nisan, that's the V'Nafochu. But no, Purim is the next day. V'Noach Bar Ba'asar. Why don't you want to do it? So now, of course, the fact that the nace was on Yud Gimel, so the Gemara says that's of course of significance, and that's why you don't need a pasuk that you could be magdim the Megillah to Yud Gimel. No, you don't need a pasuk for that. Yud Gimel is Mankila Akoli, and why is Mankila? We spoke about this, and it's also in our book on Tanis Esther. But it did the next day. V'Noach Bar Ba'asar. So even by Purim Pros, I did the next day. It's always mochar, right? And then, of course, Esther says, mochar by, yinasin gam mochar la Yehudim. But even by Purim the Prozim, just like in the first Mechazah, there's an element of mochar. Right? We did it the day after. You should do it on the day of the nace. So now some wise guy, not wise guy, I myself was told by I had first heard this observation even before I heard from Moshe Shapiro. I heard it years earlier, but I heard when I was drunk from my Rosh Hashanah, Yaakov Varmik, during a post-Purim party. Said post-Purim is the Iker because it's V'Noach Bar, it's the day after. And I can't even remember what he said because I was quite stoned and it was also many years ago. Right, but I heard this ha'ara, right, that it was, it's the day after, right? So now, for many years I had the kasha. I'm sure people right now out there in cyberspace who are catching this or have the same kasha. Say, hey, if isn't Hanukkah the same way? Isn't Hanukkah the same way that it's Chanu Chafei? They had the Muhammad, and the Muhammad was over. First of all, the Muhammad wasn't totally over, right? It wasn't, they still had skirmishes with the Greeks, and let alone there were tumultuous times. The end of Chanu Chafei wasn't that, you celebrate the day after the war is over. Because that's when they inaugurated the Mishkan. These were the 8 days of inauguration. Of course, the Nes Pach Hashemin only started on Chafei, right? The 8 days from Chafei. The Nes Pach Hashemin was then, So that's one of the elements of why they're Mataka in Hanukkah, right? As the Rambam says also, two reasons. There's the Gula, and then there was also Neis Pach Hashem. So Neis Pach Hashem only started on Chafei, but the Iker Chag is connected to Chanukah Samizbeach. And that was, they built the Chag around the re-inauguration of the Beis HaMikdash. That's the Chag, Chanukah. It's like the famous Ramban. It's also to pay back. Aaron's the sound and participate in Lech Mishkan, and the menorah that he was given as a consolation prize is Meramis to Chanukah Kayadua. The Chag is Chanukah. The Chag is the re-inauguration of the second Beis Hamikdash. That is the Chag, right? Of course, one of the reasons why they felt it's worthy to make a Chag out of the re-inauguration was also the Hatzalah, the Milchama, right? But they built the Yom Tov around the re-inauguration of the Beis Hamikdash, the Chanukah Samizbeach, right? So, which Neis Pach Hashem was part of it because they wanted to re-inaugurate it only with Shem and Tahor, like the Chusherim says. They didn't want to rely on Tumah Hutra B'tzibur, assuming that principle would apply to the Pach Hashem. It was because of Chanukah. Right, so Chanukah does not demonstrate that principle, right? You do, you commemorate a miracle when it happens, not the day after. You commemorate the miracle when it happened. Yitzias Mitzrayim was on the 15th. It was on the 15th. At night they had the Korban Pesach and Matzor, and on that day they bet Yotzei Yisrael Mitzrayim. It's not the day after Yitzias Mitzrayim. Right? You commemorate the day itself. So why is it Machar? Right? It's Vinoach Bar Basar, the day of rest, the day after. Right? So that's something which is no at both days of Purim. So you think about it, Shushan Purim is Machar squared, double tomorrow. Right? In a certain sense that you're not saying another day of fighting, and they get their day of rest therefore a day later because they were still fighting. So it's like Machar squared. But there's an aspect of Machar even in Purim the Prozim, and it's something germane to Milchemes Amalek, the concept of Machar. Even Esther, when trying to in her plot to take down Haman, was Machar Esed Zarbach. Going to make by the second day after. Today, day one is just laying the trap. Day two, it's always, Hayom Umachar. Machar Nochi Nitzav Rosh Giva. So the idea is like this. Kiyar al Keska, as we open up with that pasuk, the remnants of the Minchas Elazar to Yudawad and Tesvav, Yudad, Yad, case, Ka, Tesvav. Right, right. So Muhammad Hashem ba'amalek midor dor. We're going to deal with Amalek till the end time. We in my book that I put out this year, Neis B'Shushan. Look at that, another Hashgacha Pratis that put out a sefer Neis B'Shushan, and here we are by Shushan Purim Tish. All right, so as we point out already in introduction, and we deal with it further in the sefer. Right, we are, Amalek is a timeless enemy till the end of time. It's only in the future. And the Psukim that we read, which hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet. Then Timcha Zecher Amalek. It hasn't happened yet. There were opportunities where we thought, maybe, right? It was Haniach, but we weren't zocher to it in totality. And it's all going to be at the end of time. Right? So Amalek, he is our enemy throughout history and destiny. He is the whole world order that came into the world with the Eitz Hadas, Hamina Eitz. That's the remes to Haman in the Torah. And we're only going to fix Chet Eitz Hadas by the end of time. That's why we have all the Doros. We have all the Doros, right, to make up for Chet Adam Rishon. And that's what the Gemara said. Let's be grateful that our forefathers sinned. Otherwise, it will be as if we were never born. Who knows if we would have been born, and even if we would have been born, we wouldn't have had much work to do because our forefathers would have, fixed the whole world for us. we would just have our Olam Haba Midin Yerusha. So it's not Namar Kisufa, because it's, there's Yerusha is a din. A person doesn't have to be embarrassed of his Yerusha. Right? Fine, but that wasn't the way it was. They were Cholte, and we had to come to the world to do cleanup. Right? And Amalek is going to be there until we totally fix Chet or Marisha. Always be there in some shape, some form. And he's, as we say, he's a shapeshifter. He'll always be out there. Right? So when we fight Amalek, we have to understand it's not like there's an annoyance that we have to shoo away. It's not just, he's not just an annoyance. Right, that's just a problem here and now. Who's thinking about tomorrow? Right, a mosquito is buzzing around you and then taking bites out of you, stinging you. Yeah, are you thinking about tomorrow? You just want to get rid of him now. Get rid of the mosquito now. Amalek is not that way. Amalek is, you got to think mochar. You have to try to move the world in a direction that you're moving destiny forward, that you are pushing Amalek out of existence. The Muhammad with Amalek is the battle of destiny. It's the battle of destiny. You got to think tomorrow. It's not like, because listen, do you dafka have to kill him? Do you dafka have to kill him? You could run away from him. If it's just an annoyance of the present moment, all right, so just duck, hide, and it'll go away. No, it doesn't go away. Hashem b'Amalek midor dor. All right, it's the avodah of every generation to contend with him in order to pass on to the next generation a world that's a little bit cleaner with a little bit less of Amalek in it, and the next generation, and midor dor, in every door, it's a tikkun for the coats vidardar. Tatsuach dardar, right? The coats is the difference in gematria between echad and acher. Right, the coats represents the potential for avodah zarah, Elohim acherim, because instead of Hashem echad, acher, what's the difference in gematria between acher and echad? Coats, right? 196. It's the difference between the gematria of a dalid, which is 4, and resh, which is 200. Add coats to dalid, and you have a resh. So coats vidardar. We have all this lowliness, dalid, rash, right? And in chodesh ador. Ador, Aleph connected the coats, Echad, right? Aleph is against the coats, so we added to the Dal Resh, get Chodesh Ador, right? Kayadua, as the Sforim say, right? But the Dor Vador is the tikkun for coats Vidardar. The letter Vav is called Ois Emes, so it runs parallel to the idea of the Aleph. It's a line. It's a single line, so it's like the Aleph is one, except the difference between Aleph is a point concept. Vav is a hemshech, to pull the truth down, make a kav, make a continuum, to pull the emes down, be connected to the emes. So that's Dor, and that's Adar, and it's a tikkun for the period that there is in Dardar. How the Dalit of Echad became a Resh. That's Dardar. The Dalit of Echad became a Resh because of the coats. So the Dalit became a Resh. That's the Dardar. Dalit becomes Resh. Right? So, and that's the purpose of all of the Hemshech of generations, is to have a process. Every generation does its part in cleaning up the cosmos, right? That there should be less Amalek. So it's not about just getting past them, that he shouldn't annoy you, he shouldn't persecute you, shouldn't bother you. It's not that, right? It's about removing him from reality for the sake of destiny. And that's why you always got to think mochar. You got to think mochar by that. No, it's not enough to escape him or beat him down for the moment. No, it has to be done with kavana, that we're doing this for the sake of destiny, to advance destiny to a time where there's only tov and no ra whatsoever. It's you got to think advancement. It's Purim is not a yom tov of the here and now. Purim is a yom tov of destiny. Shuasam hayisa lo netzach v'sikvasam b'chol dor v'dor. And that's why you got to think machar always. The real, mechias Amalek is not killing him. The real mechias Amalek is to get to a world where Amalek isn't there. That's what it means. Timcha Zechmach, even no remnant of him, no remnant. We got to get to a world which is Amalek Ryan, Amalek Ryan. And so that's why they want to make us Yudin Ryan, because they're the opposite. They want to do to us what we need to do to them. But to make the world Amalek Ryan, totally empty of Amalek. You're not really. I spoke about this last night. Not last night. 2 nights ago. I spoke to this a few times. That really, the Maisa mitzvah is killing Amalek, right? But the Kiyum mitzvah is when Amalek is no longer in existence, and so no one's really Yoitze Mechias Amalek. Well, no, because it's a mitzvah. We proved this and lummed this, from the Rambam. It's a mitzvah on the cloud. It's not a mitzvah on the Yachid, and therefore everyone, it's mitzdarf mitzad. I think the deer just ran off. A deer ran across my front lawn. I'm in Tom's River now. Right? It's all mitzdarif, mitzad, they're all part of the Am. All the Doris belong to Am Yisrael. So it's all a hemshech. It's a mitzvah on the cloud, and the cloud is koilo all the Doris. And every door does his part. And between all the Doris combined, Mechias Amalek gets done. So you got to think machar. And Purim is vinoach. It's like we pretend, we have the or of Lasid Lavo, of we're resting, we're taka resting from Amalek, because he's gone. And that's the ikar of v'harog v'noach me'ovehem, v'harog b'sonem. So if you're noach me'ovehem, so you're resting, so you're not harog b'sonem. No, the oyev refers to all the other umos. The ikar hariga of b'sonem is that there's no remnant of him. There's, if there'd be a remnant, you'd be batzis. But since you're b'simcha, that's the Gemar Tikkun of Mechias Amalek. There's no Zecher Amalek. There's not even a memory of him. That's the Ikar Harog B'Soneim, when you're B'Simcha Gemura over the fact that he isn't. Simcha Gemura, he doesn't live rent-free in your head or in your heart. There's no Zecher Amalek. And that's the Ikar Hariga, when there's not even a memory of him. Right? So the killing is the Maisa Mitzvah. The Kiyum Mitzvahs get to a world where there's no Amalek. And that's why the day after, the day that you're fighting with him, you're still contending with his existence, even though it was a big military victory, and the fact that the Goyim just didn't even defend themselves. Big nace. But what's reminiscent of Mechias Amalek is the day after, where there's a gili of the or of Lasid Lavo, and that's the secret that Purim is the Chag that we celebrate Lasid. That's Purim and Yom Kippur. I found a medrash once that says Chanukah also, right? But Purim and Yom Kippur, just the two Chagim that we celebrate, Lasid Lavo, right? They are reminiscent of the future. They are reminiscent of that great future, Lasid Lavo, right? So, so it's the day after. So you got to think destiny. Mechias Amalek, you got to think destiny. Don't think about just saving your own hide. You got to think machar, right? I'm doing this to advance the world, advance the timeline towards that great day where Amalek's not in the world, which is beside all the Zuma from Chet Adam Rishon has been removed. So that's even by the regular Purim. By any Mechias Amalek, you got to be machar oriented, because it won't even be matzliach if you're not machar oriented, because that's Muhammad Hashem ba'amalek midor dor. So I got to advance it. That I'm handing off to the next door a world with less Amalek. Tag team, that they could pick off where I left off. Cooperative effort of all the Durs. Okay, that's the meaning of machar in general. But now we're going to get into the machar squared, machar squared of Shushan Purim, which is reflected by the Chayma. Okay, so now we quoted the Yerushalmi that the Rambam brings. Mishum kvoda v'eretz Yisrael. Yes, Esther said that's why. Let's fight in Shushan. Let's fight one more day of fighting in Shushan. So now what's the connection? One more day fighting in Shushan, and therefore, because they rested in Shushan, why one day fighting in Shushan? Why not just one more day of fighting? Let's just kill more Goyim. Why not? Not a bad idea. I'm really counting on Trump being reelected, and I won't go to jail for this, right? So, anyways, someone just left the room because I mentioned Trump. You a Democrat? Anyways, No Yid, talking about Amalek, as we write in the book, leftism, and they have a home in the Democratic Party, you know, leftism is the new Amalek. He's a shapeshifter. He's a Bechol Dor Vador, you know, and another, that's why Tikva, Shwas Beisalev is Tikva Bechol Dor Vador, because Muhammad Hashem Ba'amalek Mi Dor Dor. In this door, he's the radical Islam and he's the leftist. Now, a Yid cannot vote Democrat. A Yid cannot vote Democrat. It's an Isser Deraisa of Mamash being Somech Yad Rishoyim. Your Mamash, you're giving koach to the Sitracher if you vote Democrat. Usser to do. Now, Mamash, usser to do. Anyways, so what I say, now you got to think about what were Haman and Achashverosh thinking. What were they thinking? Like they wanted to, kill out all the Jews. I got a question. What's going to keep the world going? Right? There's the Va'ata Mechayes Kulam, which is the Shechina Kedosha, the Va'ata. Vav is the Vav. Someone said Ata is the Shechina. Ata is the meat of Malchus. Right? How did they think they would keep the world going? I'm fine, you destroy all the Jews, but it's basically a suicide mission, and the whole world goes kaboom. Right? The world doesn't need fossil fuel bans to stay in existence. It needs Yidden. It needs Yidden who are the racist, the gracious, and needs Torah. The racist, the side of the Bria is Klal Yisrael and Torah. So Amalek wants to, as we explained in our Sefer, Amalek wants to complete for that place. Racist claim Amalek, and there can't be two firsts. There are no two firsts. Even if it's a tie, so neither is first, because first means the first, right? Only one first. Okay, so okay. But Amalek, you're a fake. You're a fake. At least that's in my drag. A lot of people don't know that they're a fake, right? Amalek knows he's fake. Right? He doesn't care. He lies about it, but he himself deep down knows who he really is. That's why Haman just freaks every time he sees Mordechai. Well, why freak? He tells Haman, he tells Zeresh, I rova above, he's got he tells and all this means nothing. Not my money and not my great kids and not all my power and not my prestige. Why? Because he knows he's bad some nothing, and the Jew reminds him of that. Now, deep down, he knows he's worthless, right? So right now, he knows he's empty. He came into existence because of Chet Eitz Hadas. If not for one guy eating a piece of fruit that he shouldn't have, he wouldn't exist. He knows that. All right. So what's the plan? So he is like the fake reality. It's like this, the science fiction stuff. I remember from my youth, like a video character in a video game comes to the perception that he's not real, but he wants to escape the video game. And that's Amalek. Amalek wants to escape the video game and enter a physical space and become real and take it over, right? So what's the plan? How are you going to keep the world going? It's like you kill Am Yisrael, who learned the Torah. You pulled the plug. The universe goes. So he and Achashverosh had a very deep idea. Right, and they were mamish on the same page. It's murmus what Chazal say. The Moshe for Achashverosh and Haman was Achashverosh, the guy who has a big mound in his field. He got to get rid of, and Haman represents the guy who has a big pit, an empty pit. Right. So so Haman says, "I'll buy your mound off of you." That means the right to kill the Yidden, and he says, "I'd give it to you for free. Just get it out, because I want to get rid of the mound anyway." Right? And that's what he says, you keep your money, kill Am Yisrael. So the moral goes into this very deep. Achashverosh is a regular guy. He's not a Amalek. So to him, Am Yisrael is a mound. We stand out. We overachieve. We're a mountain. We overachieve. We're an annoyance. Right? We're what to be jealous of. That's the mound. Right? To Haman, the pit, Am Yisrael's the pit, the emptiness. Am Yisrael reminds Haman that he's empty. They remind him that he's just a void. He doesn't really exist. He only got his whole existence from the koach of the Zuama that invaded reality because of Chet Adam Rishon. So To the eyes of all the other guys, we're a mountain. They're jealous, and they're annoyed by our presence. And to Haman, when he sees a Jew, he sees a pit. He's seeing a reflection of himself. Right? He sees void because we're anti his existence. His existence is fake. He's reminded of. He sees in us a reflection of what he really is. Void, empty. So now, but now what do they want to do? They want to put the mound into the pit and equalize. So the Ramad Valley, Talmud of the Ramchal, it says, if I saw this many years ago, but if I remember correctly, they had an amazing conspiracy. They would be like pieces of the puzzle that fit in together. What would be sandwiched between them? So they fit the mound fills up the pit. What would be sandwiched between them and sealed in? The Shechina. The Shechina. They were planning on capturing the Shechina, and that's the secret. And they had the same, plot. Just when they turned on each other, they accused each other of what they were doing. Right? I'll explain in a second. Right? But they both had the same plot. They wanted to, take the Va'ata Machayas Kulam, the Ata part of Va'ata Machayas Kulam, capture the Ata, and seal it into Shushan. Make Shushan the new Yerushalayim. Am Yisrael is called the Shoshana. The Shoshana. Shushan would replace the Shoshana, but it's called Shushan. That's missing the hay at the end, which represents the Shechina. Right? They were Shushan, and they wanted to capture the hay of the Shoshana and put it there. Make Shushan will be the new Shoshana. They wanted to capture it because we know Shchinta Bigalusa. The Shechina doesn't go with the Jewish people. They kill Jewish people, but they try to hold the Shechina there, captive, right? Captive. And that's the secret. Where's the Shechina in the Beis HaMikdash, Yerushalayim? Achashverosh by Asura, he took out the Kalim of the Beis HaMikdash. He was trying to bring the Midah of Malchus, the Midah of Shechina to him. Right? That's what he wanted. And he thought, Haman said, I could help you with this. We'll do it together, And there will be an evil twin of Yesod and Malchus, the mound, the pit, Yesod and Malchus. There will be evil twins of Yesod, the Chibur of Yesod and Malchus, the Chibur of an evil twin of the Chibur of Kutcha Brichu Shchinte. And that's that's what they wanted to do. And now subconsciously, even though Achashverosh didn't know Esther was Jewish, but he felt something for her, right? When she was Noses Chen, Matzah Chen Beinav. Why? Who knows, right? He really wanted her. And it was, Chazal said she was a Yerakrokas, and she wasn't, really a Basula. She was married to one. It's like he broke all his own rules, right? Was wild over her. So now, Afakav Diulo Chaze, Mazle Chaze, the Tsar of Achashverosh and Shammai knew that Esther was the Merkava for the Midas HaMalchus, right? She represented the Shechina, the Midas HaMalchus, and that's why Vayom Hashem Vatubash Esther Malchus, Lavsha Ruach HaKodesh, that was the Midah of Malchus was on her. Except that, the Midah of Malchus, one of the lessons of Purim is even if Shechinta B'galusa, so even if the Shechina is in jail, from jail, it'll run the whole world. Even if the Shechina is technically in jail, it'll run the whole world from there. That's Esther and Beis HaChashverosh manipulating the whole. But, it was also, but he wanted her, it fit with his desire to also take the care of the Beis HaMikdash. He wanted to be Mamshech the Midah of Shechina and make Shushan the new Yerushalayim. So then when they turned on each other, so what does Achashverosh say to Haman? Hagam lichvosh es hamalka. You want to capture the queen in my own house? That's exactly what Achashverosh was trying to do. Lichvosh es hamalka, to take the midas hamalchus, Shechina for himself. He just accused Haman of what he himself was doing, right? What he was doing, maybe not fully consciously, but that's the secret of his attraction to her. And why also, as far as we know, he didn't let her go after, he didn't let her go after the Nes of Purim, as far as we know. She was stuck there. Even though she was Mashbia Sheda, she never, was physically with Achashverosh. She was Mashbia, a shade in her likeness, but still, it seems that, he didn't release her and he did not allow the rebuilding of the Beis HaMikdash. His son, Daryavish II, started the rebuilding the Beis HaMikdash, right? which it was Esther's son, Daryavish. If that's what we say, so he never really did tshuva. That's what it ends off. That's what Masa is. Biden, Achashverosh raised taxes, and Chol Masa, this was, like we said, Purim was a portal to the future. It was a portal to the future. Achashverosh was unrepentant. He was repentant in the sense that he let his wife's people just kill out all their enemies, but he didn't release Esther, as far as we know, and he did not allow the rebuilding of the Beis HaMikdash. We had to wait for him to die, which was however many years afterwards. And Daryavish II. If I have my history, you could check me on all this. I'm saying all this off the cuff, as this whole mimer and Suda was spontaneous. But that was definitely Achashverosh. They did not do tshuva shlema for his attempt to steal the meat of Malchus and lichvo shesamalka imo babayis. All right. So the plot was to make Shushan the new Yerushalayim. That was the plot. Capture the Shechina within, bottle it up in Shushan, and that'll be the energy source of existence after the Jewish people are gone. Try to capture the Shechina. That was the conspiracy, right? So, so Esther now wants to avinafoch on that also. Not just Asher Yishatu Ayudim Hema B'Sonan. Right? She wants to fight for the Shechina, right? Wants to fight for the cover of the Shechina. They had the conspiracy to capture the Shechina in Shushan. She's not having it, right? Not having it, right? And she is going to another day of fighting Dafka in Shushan. And it's also Mochar. Because this is like for the covet of the Shechina, because the Shechina belongs in Yerushalayim. Right? It's like, it is like she's fighting for the future of V'sechazena einenu b'shuvcha l'tzion barachamim, and when it'll be Tivneh Chomos Yerushalayim. Right? That's what she's fighting for. That's fighting Shushan. They've killed out. This is where you plan to capture the Shechina. We have another day of killing for the covet of the Shechina that belongs in Eretz Yisrael. You try to capture it here, it belongs in Eretz Yisrael. It's like another aspect of another portal to the future, right? There's, Purim the Prozim is a portal to the future. It's just stam. There's no Ra in the world, right? Esther Shushan Purim is like a portal to the future, as if Yerushalayim is rebuilt and the Shechina is in Yerushalayim. That's the other aspect of it, and it's why is it Keneged Choima, right? So aside from that, walls rebuilt, right? But it all goes back to the Shorish Achet. So we talk about Hamanat Haminites, right? Which Hashem confronts Adam. But there's a higher shorish to it. There's a higher shorish to when Adam actually ate from the tree. That didn't come out of nowhere. They was duped by the Nachash. And they asked the Nachash, it's a medrash I think in Koheles, comes that the Nachash hangs out under fences, right? Right? Build the wall, man. And that's what Shushan Purim is all about. Build the wall. Anyways, right. So they asked the Nachash, said, "Ani paratzti gidroi shalom." I'm fated, right? By Hashem to be under fences because I broke the original fence of the universe. And that's why also we say, it's on the pasuk. This is all on the pasuk. Uporetz geder yishachenu nachash. If you break walls, you don't honor boundaries and borders, you deserve to be bitten by a snake. Poretz geder yishachenu nachash. On that pasuk, what's the mida connected mida? Poretz geder gets bitten by a snake because the snake was poretz geder shalom, and that's why the snake lives under fences. Right? It's on the pasuk. Poretz geder yishachenu nachash. Right, so so the Nachash, which facilitated and was the catalyst for Chet Adam Rishon, so it's a higher shorish, right? So Amalek is get rid of Haminaitz, but we want to get rid of the Nachash also. We want to get back to the shorish of Ra that even allowed the Chet Adam Rishon to happen in the first place, right? We want to get rid of the Nachash also. want to get it back, we want to extract from the roots all Ra, not just from the critical juncture where Ra, penetrated reality, but the catalyst that made it possible in the first place, right? And that was the Nachash. The Nachash, he told lies, but when you believe the lies become reality because you believe it. So you'll act with it as if it's real. The perception is reality. You buy the lie, it becomes reality, right? The Nachash actually broke the border because when it was all Sheker doesn't exist. He brought the Sheker into reality. He violated the boundaries. Gidro Shalom. What's Gidro Shalom? The boundary that there's between reality and fantasy, right? Reality is what it is, and fantasy is what isn't. He brought what isn't into what is. He broke those walls by bringing the lies in. So that was step one. And then after that, because Adam bought it, he bought into it. That's why he ate from the tree. That just actualized what the snake put in his head. But putting lies in people's head makes the sheker reality. Because if a person buys it, perception is reality. He's going to behave as if it's real. All right. So if you have sheker in your head and you don't know the difference between that and emes, so to you it's just as real. It's Poritz Gidro, Poritz together between what is and what isn't, reality and fantasy. He violated those boundaries by bringing these lies, communicating these lies, and putting it in Adam and Chava's heads and hearts. It was called Poritz Gidro, right? And that's what Chomos Yerushalayim represent. Tivne, we daven Tivne Chomos Yerushalayim, right? Al Chomosayach Yerushalayim, Ifkadati Shomrim. And so many psukim in Tanakh about Chomos Yerushalayim, right? It could go on and be here, psukim Chomos Yerushalayim, right? Chomos Yerushalayim represent Gidro Shel Olam. Yerushalayim is reality. Yerushalayim is where the Shechina rests, and it rests there as an embassy of resting in the whole world, right? And lost the love of the Shechina will be everywhere. Just Yerushalayim will be special where we do the Avodah, right? And until now, because the world is tainted, so the Shekhinah is in Yerushalayim. So Yerushalayim represents real reality, because really the Shekhinah should be everywhere. Really Hashem's Shekhinah should be revealed everywhere. So Yerushalayim represents the pure, untainted reality. And the Chomos Yerushalayim represent the wall between true reality and fake reality. True reality and fake reality. And the fake reality, is tainted because of pritzas geder, lies invading the minds and hearts of people, which is the klipa of Amalek, right? The chet eitz hadas just finalizes it. So we don't just want to fix the damage from chet eitz hadas downwards. We want to dig further, machar laYehudim, even further into the future, where we eliminate the original penetration of non-reality into reality. And that's the Chomos Yerushalayim. And that's what Shushan Purim is. It is a portal to the future of where we eradicate the original Pritzas Gidro Shel Olam, that is the Shorish of Chet Adam Rishon. So Purim, the Prazim, is like getting rid of Chet Adam Rishon, getting rid of the Hamina Eitz. Shushan Purim is to go even higher and to rebuild a protective wall around reality that lies remain outside of reality. Right? You won't even be able to imagine sheker. It'll just be outside. Like you won't be able to imagine a color. Just like you cannot imagine a color you've never seen. Just like you can't imagine a sound you never heard, a tone you never heard. Lost in love, when we rebuild Chomos Yerushalayim, you won't even be able to imagine sheker. You won't even be able to imagine it. Right? It'll be outside of reality. It'll be called the walls of reality. Will be reinstated. That's Chomos Yerushalayim. And I understand why Shara Yerushalayim and Choma represent Torah. Ani Choma Zu Torah. That tells me Mamid Dvarim Kachoma. You have to be say things stark like a wall, clear, solid, right? Not wishy-washy, clear and solid, right? The clarity of Torah, Mamid Dvarim Kachoma, is what forces sheker out. When the Torah is like, not well explained, not well defined, there are sfekus, suffix, gematria, amalek, right? And amalek can penetrate. You have to be Mamid Dvarim Kachoma. The divrei Torah have to be stark, solid. no room for confusion, right? No room for ambivalence. We have to be, MAGA, make Am Yisrael great again. We have to build the wall, but build the wall with limud Torah ba'amkus ba'amelus, and be yosher, approximate, and you read, from that publication. I don't want to get into it. Don't get me started on Art Scroll. Don't get me started. It has to be mamid dvarim kachayma, and you really understand why it's muchra. It's dvarim kachayma, and that's why you also find Shari Yerushalayim represents Torah. Omdos hayu ragleinu b'sharach Yerushalayim. It's so monogea now, right? We're talking about in Israel they're revisiting the rights of yeshiva students to be potter from the army. Omdos hayu ragleinu b'sharach Yerushalayim. Mi garam ragleinu sheyamdu b'melchama. Shari Yerushalayim shu oiskim b'Torah. The Gemara says in Makkas, right? Shari Yerushalayim. The gates of Yerushalayim represent the base medrash. Again, like Ari Choma Zutara, right? Where we bring clarity to the world. MS, right? And MS, and flooding the world with MS displaces the sheker, and becomes flooding the world with MS becomes a protective wall. You got to build the wall. That's with learning Torah ba'amkus and ba'omeka'iyun, and getting full clarity. And omeka'iyun also means you fill up your whole mind, you fill up your whole heart, because you got engaged with your whole mind and heart. You didn't learn half asleep, right? That builds a wall, right? That floods the world with emes, that displaces the sheker and really pushes it out of reality. And that's what Shushan Purim represents. Rebuilding the cosmic wall. Chomas Yerushalayim is creating the cosmic wall. And that's why it's Mimos Yoshua ben Nun. Yoshua was the first guy to fight Amalek with the sword. It's because he was the guy who actually did. So Shari Yerushalayim, empower the war. Empower the war. Yoshua's war was empowered by seeing Moshe Rabbeinu's hands up, Moshe Rabbeinu's tighter, right? Right, and but you got to rebuild, but also Yoshua. But when I say Moshe, why I say Moshe? Because Moshe died in Chutz La'aretz, right? Yoshua is the one who conquered Eretz Yisrael and put the Shechina there, because we had to be kovish. We had to be kovish Eretz Yisrael. We had to be kovish Eretz Yisrael. And Rama is interesting halacha, right? Until we conquered Eretz Yisrael, and now we lost, with the Gullus, or the Kedusha of Eretz Yisrael is bottled because not the Kedusha of Yerushalayim, because it's Kaddish because of the Shechina. It's Shitas Rambam. Not everyone agrees. But Shitas Rambam is that Yerushalayim is always Kaddish because Shechina ain't a betela. Right? But it had to be conquered in order to put the Shechina there. Yoshua is one who conquered Eretz Yisrael and positioned the Shechina in Eretz Yisrael. It's his koach of conquest of Eretz Yisrael, and that's the cosmic alignment. We got to bring the Shechina, and that's what Shushan Purim represents. Purim, both in Klali, Bittul Ara, up to the Chet Adam Rishon, but Shushan Purim is the Tikkun Hashem of Binyan Chomas Shayim, which is Keneged Gidro Shel Olam, and it's a complete protective wall around reality. Like it says, Chomas Eish Misabim. I'm going to be, I burnt with fire, but I'm going to be a wall of fire around Yerushalayim. It's the Eish HaTorah, right? The Mimino Eish does want to be Chomas Eish Misabim. That's what Shushan Purim represents. Right, Mamash, the Tikkun Hasholim, when further tomorrow square, when we reach that great day, that not only that we not just rid the world of evil, but we even made it impossible to ever revert back to having evil in it. We rebuilt the protective wall, the Chomos Yerushalayim, and we need that now. We need that now so badly with what's going on, right? And you understand, anyone with seichel understands, right, that what we're going through right now, the sheker is wrong, the transgenderism. That's and all the crazy things that just 10 years ago would have been called crazy talk. The amount of sheker that's flooding the world, right? Flooding the world, right? Abortion. It's first-degree murder for Bnei Noach. It's first-degree murder, right? Of course, we have to fight against the, we have to fight for an abortion ban unless it's in to save the life of the mother. Of course, we have to. We're Orla Amim. It's unmitigated murder for the Bnei Noach. It's murder one. We have to flood the world with MS. And if everyone has been Messiah Shas, how many times, it's not worth anything. If it's not Dvorim Kachema, it's solid. It's hard. It's solid. It's solid inside of you. It's in your heart. It's in your head. And it's in every nook and cranny of your heart and head. So there's no way If that, then people would be much better people. If the Torah would be kechayma, it takes up it's solid. It takes up every brain cell. It takes up every chamber in the heart. And you only get there with omek ha'iyun and with amelus. That's what we need to do to reach the tikkur. And everybody should help these divrei Torah. Torah is also connected tshuva. Hashivenu v'yasar secha. First step of tshuva is to, or the Bryce Mishushan is based on Torah, maybe the day Zehirus. Right? So we did Divrei Torah, right? And we had Simchas Yom Tov, so that's also Tshuva, Purim, Kippurim, Kayadua. And we are now being mispaled to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that, we need Purim, we need the koach of Purim, Bas Galia, of a big Vinah Fochu, But we're not going to have that Vinah Fochu in Gashmis. We don't have Vinah Fochu in Ruchnis. Remember, Hadar, Kibla, Mechashosh, they did Tshuva. They did Tshuva. So there was a Vinah Fochu of heart, and then there was a Vinah Fochu in their security situation. And we need that also. We have to make the Vinah Fochu of our hearts. We have to be Hofech Levavenu, turn our hearts to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it's with Omek, Limud Ha'iyun, Mamid, Dvarim, Kechayma, right? And Aristaka. All right, so do me a favor, help me out to be Marbitz Torah if you enjoyed today's mimer. This is just to give to my nonprofit to enable me to continue being Marbitz Torah. I teach Torah for free. I put out svarim, and I maintain a website, and I need to live also. So please, it is all tax deductible. Zelle to 917-612-4778, 917-612-4778. It goes directly into my nonprofit account. You'll get a tax receipt if you need one. Or alternatively, you want to use a credit card, so go to the website, evanshasiyah.com/donate. We should see, just like, we should see the Nisan and flows that Rebbe did for them by Amim. We should see it. Bezman hazeh tekef u'miyad l'chaim.